Good morning, and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I am Razzle11, or on Twitter you can find me at Razzle11Grinds. We're going to take a look at some pitching for today. Today being Tuesday, April 25th. And it looks like we have a 9-game main slate on tap. So a nice slate for us to take a look at. I have our weather station up on my other monitor looking. We don't really have a lot of wind. We do have a few cold temperature areas. The big one being Wrigley. There is wind blowing in Wrigley, and it's supposed to be about 42 degrees. So I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of Steele and Snell talk throughout the day. So let's take a look. We're going to start here at the top, which all three of these guys, Joe Ryan, Steele, as I just mentioned, and Cortez, are all going to be in play for me. I'm a little shocked at the 10.5K price tag for Ryan, but he did dominate this Yankee squad just 2 starts ago. And by the looks of it, it is going to be in the low 50s with slight wind blowing in Minnesota. So definitely worth it, but man, as much as I love the Twins, 10.5K, and the top spend up option being Joe Ryan, there is some worries there, but I will be all over him. Justin Steele is one of my favorite pitchers in baseball. Doesn't seem to get the respect from the DFS community that he deserves. I again will be right back on it. I realize San Diego is a lot tougher with Tatis back, but they still aren't. I don't know. They aren't clicking from top to bottom yet. So add in the weather in Wrigley, and I am going to be pretty heavy on Justin Steele. Cortez, despite being an underdog to Ryan in this, threw really well against the Twins just 2 starts ago. Hasn't really showcased a ton of upside yet, so it does make it a little worrisome to pay almost 10K for him. But I believe that game has a total of just 7. And Minnesota's just a minus 125 favorite. So we should see some strong pitching in that performance or in that game. Well, first guy that we're going to fade on the list, which I don't even think it's a bold call. Sean Manaea. We're just not paying 9,400 for Sean Manaea. Maybe a few years ago with Oakland, he hasn't shown that kind of ability in a while. He was strong against Kansas City, but he's been really rough since then. I just don't know that he has enough for us. St. Louis does have a few right-handed bats that can hit lefties pretty well, and it's just not worth it for me. Eric Lauer is going to make my list of plays. Pretty solid matchup against the Tigers. Not a whole lot to say. There isn't a ton of K upside, but 3 of his 4 starts, he's basically been like Nestor Cortez. So, if we can get the similar output to Nestor at cheaper, we might have to consider going heavier on Lauer. We have Morton, who finally looked solid last time out against San Diego, pitching at home, which he's been much better at over the last couple of years. So I think we're going to have to go to Charlie Morton. I'm not going to go super overweight, but he is a minus 235 favorite, so that's pretty strong on this slate. I already mentioned Blake Snell and the weather he's going to be pitching in. He hasn't been great. From our first look at our optimizer, Blake Snell is definitely popping today. So you're gonna have to, I don't know, either be willing to accept the variance with him, or kind of cap your exposure. I'm not sure quite yet what I'm gonna do, but I know the upside is there. Like, he can strike out a ton of guys. Weather sucks. It's just a matter of, can he throw strikes? Going down the list here, not really seeing a whole lot to stand out to me, unfortunately. I might go back to the Griffin Canning experience. He was a former top 100 arm, dealt with some injuries, has been decent in his two starts. Now he gets Oakland. I know they just lit up Suarez last night, but I think at 6,400, he's probably going to be a popular SP2, and I don't mind it a whole lot. Um, oh, I skipped over, Jose Barrios, who's looked good the last two starts, even though he didn't really rack up Ks against Houston. He did end the Tampa Bay undefeated stretch to the beginning of the season. I think he's an interesting GPP option that people might skip over. Um, and really at the bottom, I don't see a whole lot as far as my initial thoughts. Mason Miller can throw hard, can pick up some strikeouts, but do we want to pick on the Angels with him? I'm not sure yet. Um, he looks solid against the Cubs, despite them taking the L. But man, I don't. I'm gonna have to think about this one throughout the day. Uh, if you want to know later today what my thoughts are, you can definitely hit the comments with a question, and I will try to get back to answer that. But I know he has some electric stuff, and guys with that kind of stuff at 5,700 should always intrigue us. Kind of looking at the bottom, I don't really love the spots for many of these guys. Turnbull's a guy that can, I mean, he shut down Toronto, a legit offense. So he's a guy that can surprise. I just don't know if I want to use right-handed pitchers against the Brewers right now. I'll have to dig in more to some recent splits, but I'm gonna guess that Turnbull probably picks up 5 to 7% ownership. Uh, so it's either we just fade that little ownership or we double or triple it to get some leverage. But there we have it. There's my first look at today's pitching options. Some of the guys I will be fading, and then obviously the guys I will be heavier on. If you like what I'm bringing to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It really helps us out at DFS Army. And if you want to join us and get into the premium tools, have access to us as coaches in the Discord, you can head to the DFS Army website. I'll put links in the description below. Use promo code RAZ for 10% off. And there we have it. Best of luck, everybody.